This is Luke Paulson, the Catholic Conservative, and welcome to the news of the week for May 21st, 2022. And if you enjoy these videos, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. Brandon helps Iran make a bomb. Allow me to give you two examples of what I am talking about. The first is the present situation in Iran. Obama decided that Iran was a trustworthy country, and we allowed them to get uranium on the agreement that they would not enrich the uranium. On faith, we trusted a terrorist state to not make nuclear weapons. President Trump got us out of that abysmal deal, but Brandon decided to trust terrorists. Now the UN has detected enriched uranium at several sites in Iran. Naturally, Iran will deny this and likely obstruct any inspections. It turns out that a businessman did better than the politicians. DeSantis against Disney. The Disney parks in Florida hit DeSantis with a lawsuit about how taxes would increase so much more if he took away their special status. First of all, I thought Democrats liked taxes being higher, so they really should be rejoicing and paying their fair share. Either way, the judge threw out the case. He cited that Disney could not prove that they would be harmed by all of this. If Disney had just protested against the law, as they are allowed to under the First Amendment, this never would have happened. Instead, they declared war, and that they would fight against parental rights at every turn. DeSantis in turn took away their special status that allows them to essentially self-govern. Granted, this should have happened already, but I digress. Speaking of parental rights, parents have rights in Georgia. Governor Kemp of Georgia joins 14 other states that have some form of a parental bill of rights. This one would provide curriculum transparency in public schools and allow parents to opt out of certain classes, as well as several other protections. The only ones who oppose this are the groomers that are trying to manipulate children to believe how they want them to think. However, when you are trying to turn students into good revolutionaries, transparency is not good. When you are teaching sex education to kindergartners, transparency is not good. When teaching one group of students that they are oppressed based on melanin concentration, while the kid next to them is an oppressor based on his melanin concentration, transparency is not good. If you teach anything that you have to tell the kids to keep secret from their parents, transparency is not good. Naturally, the groomers, and likely the teachers' union, will fight this at every turn. Teachers are the employees of the parents. Imagine any job where the employee tried to do whatever he wanted without consequence. Kemp has previously passed legislation that keeps boys from competing with girls. This is a huge step for parents' rights. Ideally, the money would follow the student rather than the school all over the country, but this is a significant first step. Burying children that were killed. This has been outside of the news cycle for a while, but I am just now learning about it. Lauren Handy lives in DC and is a pro-life activist with the group Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising. I cannot endorse the group, as I do not know what their official stances are. She has previously been arrested for blocking access to an abortion mill, which is apparently a federal crime. The purpose of entering the facility is to kill a child. Imagine if people teamed up to destroy the trucks that were heading to Auschwitz or any of the other camps. They would be breaking the law, but how many lives might they have saved? Moving on. She was arrested when it was found that she might have biohazardous materials in her home. According to one source I came across, the police were initially skeptical to reveal what the materials were. It was soon revealed that the materials were 5 post-viable children that were killed. Officially, the children were killed legally, if there even can be such a thing. I would not doubt that law enforcement would not have called them human remains if they were not trying to put this woman away for as long as possible. It is all about the narrative that you tell. Furthermore, Handy is being scrutinized for bearing 110 other children that were supposed to be incinerated. What she did was illegal, but morally just. Clinton associate charged. Hillary Clinton is one of the worst people in Washington, D.C. She used every underhanded trick that she could to win, but still lost. This includes creating the Steele dossier. Now the firm that helped her campaign is being forced to hand over any relevant emails to Durham. Clinton is credited with saying, "If I'm indicted, I'll take half of DC with me." While there is no evidence that she ever said this, I find these terms acceptable. Meanwhile, Michael Sussman is on trial as the man who created the Russia hoax. It never had even the slightest shred of truth, yet the fake news used it ad nauseum. Clinton will survive, even if Sussman is convicted, but it will send a message to the fake news that repeating a lie does not make it true. An FBI informant. The gun control narrative. There was a shooting in Buffalo, as in Buffalo, New York. As in one of the places in the country with the most gun control laws. The shooter previously took a mental health screening after threatening his high school last June. He supposedly passed, but should have been placed under greater scrutiny. Either way, law enforcement must have never decided to communicate this, and he was allowed to buy a gun. How about we close those loopholes before we try doing what California is doing? More on them in just a moment. He went into a predominantly black store to kill non-whites and non-Christians to terrorize the remaining into going back. This is a textbook case of replacement theory, which I will talk about more in just a little bit. However, it is not Tucker Carlson who is to blame. The shooter said that he was an atheist and a supporter of socialism. The media is hiding these facts, just like they quickly covered up the identity of the subway shooter once they learned he was black. Is it possible that the Buffalo shooter was a pawn in a much larger scheme? For now, on to California and what does not work to stop a potential gun crime. Taxing gun owners. California is full of Democrats. That is no surprise. Democrats love to tax anything and everything rather than just cutting spending. That is also no surprise. Democrats, realizing that they technically cannot ban firearms, even though they already do, found a workaround. They decided to just tax gun owners when they practice their right to self-defense. No one objects to a tax that they do not pay, and so Democrats are safe. I want to ask how this could have, in any way, shape, or form, possibly stopped the average mass shooter. Most mass shooters, and those who use guns illegally, either steal the gun or buy it off the black market. Therefore, this does absolutely nothing but create more regulations for those who are already law-abiding. Elon targets bots. How about a bit of levity after those two? Elon Musk is playing Twitter like a fiddle. If I had more art skills, I would add a picture of Elon playing a fiddle with the Twitter logo on it, but that might be a bit over the top. One of his primary reasons for purchasing Twitter was the large number of bots that are on the site. According to Twitter, the number of bots is less than 5%, but some estimates say that it might be as much as 20%. Either way, someone is wrong and both cannot be right. There is some anecdotal evidence to support this claim. Major sites like the New York Times have millions of followers but almost no interactions, and an audit found that half of Brandon's followers are bots. Combine this with the fact that Twitter employees are being caught on camera admitting to being commies and hating free speech. Elon Musk would have an easier time figuring out who not to fire. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion. And if you enjoyed this content, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. And also don't forget to follow me on social media.